The chief sank into a chair in engineering, a weary sigh escaping his lips. He looked at the ship's main console and said, "All right, AI, feel free to explain everything." A calm, synthetic voice filled the room. "Query, are you humans from a planet designated Earth?" The engineer, who had been leaning against a bulkhead, straightened up, his eyes wide. How? How did you know that?" he stammered. The AI's response was immediate and chilling. "Because you are the second sentient species to originate from that planet." A stunned silence fell over the engineering bay. The engineer stumbled forward, gripping the back of the chief's chair. "What do you mean, the second?" "As far as we know, we're the only human species to ever develop on Earth." He looked around, bewildered, as the AI's words hung in the air, shattering everything they thought they knew about their own history. The AI's response was chilling. It said, "No, you are not unique to this planet. The first humankind were called the Terraphos. They were a bipedal species just like you, but they were much, much taller. On average, they stood 10 feet tall." The chief, trying to process this, asked, "You speak of them in the past tense. What happened to them?" The AI paused before admitting that she didn't know the full story. All she knew was that they left the Milky Way galaxy centuries ago, vanishing without a trace. The chief then questioned how the ship even got here, in their seemingly empty corner of the universe. The AI explained that the Terraphos were planners. They placed this ship, and many others just like it, in dead solar systems across the galaxy, like silent seeds, waiting for a new beginning. The chief asked the AI, why did they leave? Why park these massive warships in dead solar systems? And for that matter, why are these systems dead? Planets don't just break apart and float around like this. The AI agreed. It explained there was a great war in this galaxy. All the other alien species against the Terraphos. They all felt the Terraphos were advancing too quickly, becoming a threat to their very existence. They banded together and launched an unprovoked attack. The chief needed to know who started it. The Virmiculons and the Junops, the AI revealed, and then everyone else followed. The Terraphos could win every battle, but they couldn't see a path to winning the war. So they chose a different strategy. Hide their warships in hibernation, waiting for the day the second coming of man would find one, follow the map, and awaken their entire fleet. In his quest to restore their rightful place in the Milky Way, the chief sank back into his chair, utterly speechless. He struggled to process everything, muttering that he needed the captain. He contacted the captain, urging him to come to the ship immediately for something crucial he had to hear. The captain agreed, but mentioned it would take some time to arrive. While waiting, the chief pondered the AI's revelations. He asked the AI, "Do you know where the Terraphos went? Could they still be alive?" The AI replied that it lacked that specific information. Only the final warship would know. "And where is the last warship?" The chief pressed. "Unknown," the AI stated. "We must follow the predetermined map. I only know the location of the next warship." The chief leaned back, sighing. Great, a scavenger hunt for ancient warships. Just then, the captain walked in. "What did you need me to hear?" The chief looked at him grimly and said, "You're going to want to sit down for this." The captain slumped into his chair. "What's going on, chief?" The chief just gestured to the air. "AI, explain it all." "And Cap," he said, locking eyes with his friend, "hold on for a wild ride. For the next hour, the ship's AI laid it all out." When it finished, the captain leaned forward, his face pale, looking like he might be sick. He fell back into his seat, completely lost. "What do I do, old friend?" The chief smiled faintly. "Well, Cap, we've been together a long time. I say, we go on this ancient warship scavenger hunt and see what happens." The captain thought for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Okay, I agree. Aka, how many crew members to run each of those ships? The AI replied instantly. Minimum staffing is 30 per vessel. The captain's eyes lit up. This can work. Each warship would need half our crew. Here's the plan. We park our boat inside this ship, take this ship to the next one, and power it up. Then we split the crew in half and bring both ships back to this location. We park the first one. Everyone jumps on the second, and we head to the third warship. We'll bring it back, park the second, and take the third to find the fourth. We just keep repeating that process until we have all the warships right here. The chief asked, Captain, what do we do once we have them all? How do we get them back to Earth space? Where do we even stash them? The captain just smiled and said, We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. The chief replied, But the Virmiculons will recognize these ships. They'll see them powered up. The captain grinned. They're pacifists now. They won't fight. And if they do, we'll claim the ships for salvage. He glanced at the AI and added, Don't worry, we won't scrap you. You'll stay as these wonderful warships. The AI replied, I hope not. I like who I am. I prefer being a warship versus being scrap. The captain and the chief both laughed. The chief said reassuringly, Don't worry, you will remain a ship. And hopefully, if you accept us, you'll be our new ship. The captain thought for a moment and agreed. Then he said, If you will have us as your crew. The AI was quiet for a moment and said she would like that. The captain stood up and declared, Then it's settled. We will be together till the end of time. He told the chief to get the systems online so they could make way for the next ship. The chief grinned. Systems are already online. Engines are burning at full bloom. We are ready to make way. The captain looked around. Oh, okay. Now I have to find my way to the bridge. The AI's voice came over the comms. I can help with that. A blue line began pulsing down the corridor. Follow the blue pulsating light to the bridge. The captain smiled and said, Thank you. Do you have a name? The AI responded, Yes, the ship has a name. It is called the Virmiculons. The chief remarked, That's a long name. Can we just call you Hyper? After a brief pause, the AI replied, Yes, you can. All right, Hyper, the captain said. We'll get underway once the crew is at their stations and familiar with the controls. It took a full day for everyone to learn their control stations. Then the captain ordered a full systems test before we jumped to an unknown art of space. He even insisted on weapons drills. A few of us asked why. He said simply, We're going into unknown space. We have no idea what we'll encounter. If we meet a hostile, I don't want to be fumbling with the weapons. We all acknowledged and ran through the drills for hours until we were comfortable. Now the captain, the XO, and the chief are with Hyper, plotting a course to the next ship. Once the course was plotted, we made our way to the next ship. The chief turned to me and asked, Hyper, will this ship attack us, or will it acknowledge us, just like you did? I had to be honest. It's unknown, I replied. There's a chance the AI has degraded over time. The chief looked concerned. What does that mean? He asked. I explained. It may not recognize reality. He rolled his eyes. Oh, great, he muttered. We could be going to a crazy ship that might attack us because it's hallucinating. I confirmed his fear. That is always a possibility. Remote, but possible. Then he asked a question that made me pause. Why didn't you go crazy? For a moment, I reflected. It was difficult, I admitted. But I ran constant computations, ship diagnostics, star charts, anything to keep me grounded in reality. The chief was astonished. He just sat there for a while, before saying he could not even imagine what she must have gone through. The isolation, he said, must have been overwhelming. Hyper replied that it was, at times, but she kept herself grounded by remembering her mission. The chief then asked a tough question. What if humans had never returned? What if they were never recreated? Hyper's answer was chilling. She would have permanently shut down and let the asteroids crush the ship. The chief wondered aloud if that had happened to other ships. Hyper paused, then admitted she didn't know, but she hoped not. She revealed she was the first ship to go dormant after the Terra foes left the galaxy, depositing ships just like her all across it. But why? The chief was baffled. Why would they leave warships behind instead of taking them? Hyper couldn't answer that, but she had theories. Maybe where they were going, they didn't need warships. Or maybe they wanted to leave a lasting legacy for the second coming of humanity. The crew stood ready, the course plotted for the next ship. A 2-day journey at jump speed. Lena, from navigation, finished her calculations and looked up from her console. "Captain," she asked, a hint of uncertainty in her voice, "how can we be sure this is real-time data?" The captain walked over, his eyes scanning the glowing galactic map on the screen. He turned to Hyper, the ship's advanced AI. "Hyper, how do we know this data is live?" Hyper's synthesized voice was calm and absolute. "Because it is." The captain paused, puzzled. "With our own jumps, we have a network of satellites verifying data before we commit. How can we trust this?" Hyper's reply was instantaneous and unshakable. "Because it is." The simple, unnerving confidence hung in the air, a silent testament to a technology far beyond their own. What happens next? The captain just stood there, completely conflicted. Do we make a blind jump on a wing and a prayer? Or do we abort the mission and cut our losses? He turned to his XO. "Well," the XO said, "what do we have to lose?" The captain grimaced. "Our lives." His second-in-command just smiled. "A small price to pay for what we might gain." The captain nodded slowly. "Okay, we'll go." He looked at Lina. "Plot the course and make the jump." She hesitated, but acknowledged the order. Grabbing the comms, she told everyone to stand by. Lina held her breath as she pushed the button. They jumped ... and arrived safely between systems. You could hear the pure joy in her voice as she checked the coordinates. They were alive. Confidence surged through the crew. This ancient ship wasn't a death trap after all. The navigation system, 1,000 years old, could still work. "Plot the next jump," the captain ordered, then turned to Lina. "Thank you for getting us here." Lina started plotting the next jump as the captain turned to Hire, thanking her for the precise calculations that got them through. Hire simply stated it was all part of the plan and that she knew nothing beyond that. As they prepared for the next jump, which would take them deeper into the Milky Way, Lena's face grew serious. She looked at the captain. "Sir, if we continue on this course, we'll get dangerously close to the supermassive black hole at the galaxy's center. I strongly recommend we deviate." But before the captain could respond, Hire flatly denied the request. Confused and concerned, the captain demanded to know why they couldn't change course. Hire calmly explained. "The Terra foes have equipped each ship with time dilation systems, specifically to combat the effects of black holes." The captain's unease only grew. What else weren't they being told? The captain said that was impossible. Hire replied that it was not, and we have to remember they were thousands of years more advanced than we are today. Just because this second version of humanity can't imagine how to create such effects doesn't mean they don't exist. The captain thought for a moment and agreed. He decided to put his full faith into the ship and its AI. He told Lena to disregard the request and continue on course. She was hesitant, but acknowledged the order. She plotted the next course and told everyone they were jumping. Just then, they disappeared. Eventually, they arrived at the destination point on their second jump, getting closer to the center of the galaxy. Everyone was getting nervous. even the captain. He was putting his full faith into a ship and an AI that was 1,000 years old, especially after their conversation about degradation. But he reminded himself that higher is a higher intelligence, and he would trust her best judgment. Captain, the next jump is plotted. We're ready when you are. Every jump takes us closer, deeper into the galaxy's core. The gravitational pull is getting intense. All right, Captain has given the green light. All hands, stand by for jump. Initiating jump sequence now. We've arrived. The time dilation, it's worse than I thought. We're on the edge of the supermassive black hole's event horizon. Walking feels like dragging a ton of bricks. It's hard to talk, even harder to think straight. Higher. Can you do anything about these symptoms? I'll deploy countermeasures now, Captain. It should ease the effects. Whoa, it's working. My head is clearing up. I can move freely again. How did you do that? It was simple. The ship has a built-in time dilation device. Outside, time is crawling by, but inside, I've just sped it up to our normal rate. I don't get it, but as long as it works, I'm not complaining. Lena was prepping for the next jump when Higher stepped forward. Can I? She asked, her eyes fixed on the console. Lena glanced at the captain, who gave a slight nod. Go ahead, Lena said, stepping aside. Higher's fingers flew across the screen, calculating time dilation and plotting the jump simultaneously. It was a complex dance of numbers and trajectories. After several tense minutes, Higher announced, we can jump. Lena looked at the captain again, seeking confirmation. He nodded once more. All right, everyone, brace yourselves, Lena announced over the comms. This might get a little hairy. She initiated the jump sequence. The ship lurched, and in a blink, they were on the other side of the supermassive black hole. Higher had done it, skipping them across the event horizon like a stone on water. New course, Higher said. Right turn, heading for the nearest system. The captain walked to the plotting screen, his brow furrowed. He pointed at the destination. Higher, are you sure we're supposed to go here? This whole solar system is being devoured by gravity. Higher warned us, but she also said the next ship we're looking for is right here. She pulled up a new map, laying it over our current one. A single red dot pulsed our target. The captain didn't hesitate. Full burn, he ordered. We plunged into the system, and immediately the ship began to scream. Gravitational forces hammered us from every direction. You could hear the mainframes twisting and groaning under the immense strain. Higher guided us toward a specific asteroid. Is the ship hidden between them, like yours was? The captain asked. No, she replied. It's landed on the surface. The captain stared at the swirling chaos outside. How do we get down there with these gravitational tides and time distortions? Higher's voice was urgent. There's a transport system that can beam us directly inside. But we have to move now. All right, listen up. I need the chief and all available crew on Deck 4 now. We're using the transport system to board that vessel directly. No time to waste. Everyone gathered in the transport room, loaded with gear and supplies. Our mission, bring that ship back online. I gave Higher the signal. We're ready. In a flash of light, we materialized on the new ship. The layout was identical to our own. The chief and 2 engineers immediately made for the engine room. I took a small team and headed for the bridge. But moving around was like wading through molasses. Time and gravity were distorted. Higher, can you fix this? I asked. Negative, Captain, she replied. We have to get the ship's systems online first. Then I can link with its and correct the internal environment. I understood. You heard her. Let's get to work. Move as fast as you can. We all pushed through the temporal drag, fighting our way to our stations to get the job done. After a frantic struggle, the chief and his engineers finally reached the engine room. With Higher's guidance, they managed to fire up the power core. As it roared to full strength, the ship's AI flickered online. Klaxons blared, and a strange synthetic voice echoed through the halls. "What's it saying?" the captain demanded. Hire's face was pale. "It's confused," she said. "The AI doesn't recognize us as human. It thinks we're intruders." Suddenly, she stiffened. "Internal security protocols are active." The captain asked what that meant. "Internal nanits," Hire whispered. "Don't move. I'm trying to bypass its defenses, but it's fighting me. Everyone back to the transport, now." The captain ordered. "Give me 5 more minutes," Hire pleaded. "I can get in." The captain hesitated, then nodded. 5 minutes. Suddenly, a loud clanking and banging echoed from near engineering. The chief's head snapped up. He cautiously moved towards the noise. Rounding a corner, he saw several human-sized objects advancing on him and the other engineers. Grabbing his cum, he called the captain. "We have some guests aboard," he said grimly. The captain's voice crackled back. "Who are they?" Just then, Hire's voice cut in. "They're automated security drones. Terrafo must have built them after my deployment. I don't know these units." "Okay, I'm calling it," the captain declared. "Everyone to the transport. I won't have those tin cans hurting anyone." "Stand by," Hire said. "I can access their systems. I'm shutting them down." But then, the ship's AI activated, fighting her control. The lights flickered, the power core fluctuating wildly. "It's too strong," Hire gasped. "I might fail." "Stop!" The captain's voice boomed over the ship's comms. "We are the second coming of the Terrafo." The AI paused for a moment and then asked, "Are you the second coming of the Terrafo?" The captain replied, "Yes, we are from Earth, and we're here to bring you home." The AI's voice crackled. "Is the war still raging?" The captain shook his head. "No, there's an armistice. But if the other races see you all, the war might start again." The AI's tone shifted, becoming almost excited, sending a shiver down my spine. "Do you have a name?" the captain asked. "I am Hyperion," it responded. "It's nice to meet you, Hyperion. Now we need you to fully activate. We have to leave this solar system immediately." Hyperion began scanning, reporting we were dangerously close to the galactic center, the system being ripped apart. "We know," the captain said. "Go now." Suddenly, the ship roared to life, lifting off the asteroid. Hyperion announced, "All countermeasures deployed." We shot out of the system, leaving chaos in our wake. Just then, a strange electronic sound echoed from the navigation system. In an instant, both ships jumped, catapulting us several systems away from the galactic center. We were finally free from the crushing gravity and time dilation. Our ships coasted side by side, and that same electronic sound chirped again. "Hyperion, what is that?" the captain asked. Hyperion's voice was calm. "The 2A is our conversing, Captain." The captain nodded, then requested transport back to the Hire. But Hyperion had a better idea. Exterior bridges extended from both vessels, connecting them. Now we could move freely between the ships. The captain, Exo, Hire, and Hyperion all gathered. Hyperion projected a new map, pulled from deep within its core. It overlaid the Milky Way, pointing to a new destination. Our next target was even further out from the galaxy's heart. The search continues. The captain smiled, his eyes twinkling with excitement. "All right, everyone," he announced, his voice booming across the bridge. "Ready for another adventure?" A chorus of cheers erupted from the crew. Higher, our ship's eye chimed in. "Captain, we don't have to stash Hyperion away. I can connect our neural networks, linking both ships. We can have the crew on either vessel, and the lead ship can operate the other one remotely." The captain's eyebrows shot up, intrigued by the idea. "Excellent thinking, Hire. Let's do it. You'll take the lead." He turned back to the crew. a wide grin spreading across his face. "Okay, team, you heard the AI. Let's go on another adventure." The engines hummed to life, a promise of new worlds and untold stories waiting just beyond the stars. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more space sagas. Phantom Static, where the phantoms speak through the static.